Hey y'all, Mary Kennedy here from Kennedy Fan 5, and today I'm going to show you several assessments on graphing polynomials from Algebra 2. It's not fun to come up with assessment questions, and coming up with all those graphs can sometimes be a challenge. So I'm going to show you 10 different assessments that I've created. Not that you would have to buy this or anything like that, but hopefully it'll help you get some ideas for good assessment questions or ways to ask the questions, that sort of thing. Just also so that you can know that this is a resource that you can go to Teachers Pay Teachers and you can see a lot of the questions here. And if you click on the individual item, then you can see even more like problems and sample, questions and things like that. So I kind of like that. I think that's kind of nice that it's there. I do that on purpose because I want you to be able to see lots of examples. If you're like me, when I was teaching, I didn't want to buy stuff from Teachers Pay Teachers because I wanted to make it myself, because I was very, very picky about my questions and about testing and like assessment and all that stuff. And yeah, so I'm there with you. If that's you, I hear you. So, all right. So here's how I set up my Google form for this. These are all 5 problem mini assessments. And so I'll show you my settings. First off, this is what I have. I uncheck that and I check that. So I check these 2 boxes. I do toggle it to make it a quiz so that it will auto grade. And then I change it to later after manual review. Now you may want to change that right back to immediately and not have it on later. I like it because of the ability for me to look at their work that they upload. But if they're using this for review, you may want them to get automatic feedback. I don't change any of this down here. Under the preferences, where you hit the 3 dots and hit preferences, this is what mine looks like. So if you buy mine from Teachers Pay Teachers, this is how it's set up. Or, if you want to make yours to match mine, that's how I have it set. If I click on the problem, I do have shuffle the option order checked. So let me show you the actual form. So when you click on preview, or what your students are going to see, I went ahead and made it so that they had to really kind of think through each piece of it. They can narrow it down, but they don't even know which one they're looking for. So I think it makes for a better assessment, because they have to potentially find all of the pieces of it, like the degree, the leading coefficient, and behavior, the zeros, and maybe even the y-intercepts. And so that's the kind of thing that, really they're going to have to really think through each little part and piece of these. And I like that. I think that's a good way to do it. And you can see that they're all just variations on the same idea. All right, let's look at the next one. Graphing polynomials, zeros with multiplicity. So this time we're looking at finding zeros. And these are not in order of the way that you would teach them. I didn't do that for you. That would have been nice of me, wouldn't it? So there's a cubic here and then a bounce again. Much more straightforward, but they have to recognize and grab all 4 of the correct answers. Just 2. And I did, I tried. I'm not easy about these. It's not like, oh, well, of course it's not that. Without being tricky. I'm not trying to trick them. I'm just trying to get them to notice the details, because that is a huge part of polynomials, is all the little details that they have to pay attention to. And let's look at x and y intercepts. Also, this looks at crossing and touching the x-axis, so they have to understand that. And I put in the description that that's the terminology that I used. And so if you use different terminology, you'll be able to change that here. These answers were done just directly into the form, so you don't have to have anything special to change the wording if you want to change that. And then this is just like a multi-grid checkbox. And this question is very similar to the previous one, just a different graph. Okay, so writing possible equations. So now you've got this graph and you've got the equations. And of course you can make your screen smaller or bigger if you want to see everything at once and your screen's not, obliging you in that way. You can do the control plus or minus on a lot of them. Some of them have other shortcuts for making the the screen size bigger or smaller. Max and min. All right. So for max and min, we have this little grid again that's got the check boxes. They can check all that they think apply. If you feel like you need less challenging level there, then of course you can update that. You can change it to select this many maximums, this many minimums. You can add a description even. I mean, there's all kinds of things you could do to change the depth of knowledge that this is assessing. All right, this one's worded differently. It's a multiple choice question. They can really narrow it down. It's not a matter of being able to pick out precise points. It's a matter of understanding location and that sort of thing. That was the goal and what I was trying to assess there. Not do they know what that coordinate point is. Alrighty, let's move on. All right, so let's take a look at intervals of increase and decrease. And notice that on this one, I put choose the one correct answer. It is multiple choice, so it's not going to let them pick more than one answer. But I did say that because there are other questions where they have to check all that apply. And again, I wasn't trying to be tricky about the numbers or anything like that. I wasn't like, oh, on this one it's 0.3 and on this one it's 0.4. I didn't do anything like that. You can check more than one and you can check even from the same column. I always like to show you that. And same here. All right, let's move on to domain and range. State the range of the graph going from the bottom of the graph to the top. I didn't put parentheses on one and bracket on the other. That might not have been a bad thing to do at all, but I didn't do that on this one because that is something that kids miss a lot. You know, they forget to put the parentheses or the bracket or get confused about when to use which one. Let's see, state the range only. And then they have to state the domain and they have to state the range. All right, so let's see. Here is degrees and leading coefficients. Same thing here. And then on this one, you are choosing the right answer of both things in one. So graphing polynomials in standard form definitely has the upload your work button because there's a lot of stuff that happens between that problem, the equation with the two zeros, and the actual graph. There's a whole lot of things going on. They're going to have to do synthetic division. They're going to have to then do probably quadratic formula and then do the graph, thinking about, you know, in behavior, leading coefficient, all sorts of things. Where their zeros are, just lots of things. To choose the actual graph, you know, they're not going to have to be able to see all the little numbers and things, but they're going to want to see some of the behaviors here. Here's another one. One more. And again. And the last one. All right, graphing from factored form. So for this one, they're just looking at in behavior, leading coefficient, zeros, multiplicity. You know, that's probably going to be their main things. There's four more graphs to match an equation. And another one. And another one. And the last one. And there's the upload or work here button. And of course, that can be optional if you don't want them to do that. I think collaborating with other teachers is what has made me the teacher that I am today. And more so than anything else, it's been the biggest help. And I hope this helps you, whether you're going to buy this or not. That's okay. But, you know, you can take a look at the little example problems and you can look at this video and pause and kind of look at some questions, and hopefully it'll help you with some questions for creating assessments for your own kids. Thanks.